Hello, welcome everyone. I am Victoria Rogers and I am your host for Indie Showcase. I am not the GM today though. We have our special guest, Mark Truman from Magpie Games. Welcome, Mark.
Hello.
And so before we start, we just want to talk to you about Code 2040, and they're an organization dedicated to addressing and removing the systemic barriers in the tech industry for Black and Latinx technologists. We're raising money for them, and Roll20 will be matching up to 50,000 in donations to the organization. So check out chat, where they'll be able to point you towards where you can donate for this cause. Alrighty, so Mark, welcome.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I was saying before we got on, we've been working on Zombie World for like forever, so many years. And it's wonderful to just come on and be like, here's this game, it's done. And I'm excited to run it for you all. Some of my favorite GMs, honestly. So, it's an exciting GMing for GMs event for me. This is pretty cool.
Yay! Where so other than Zombie World and Magpie, what are some other things that you're up to and doing?
In the time of Corona, right? Like what?
Yes.
My work with Magpie for the last couple of years, Marissa Kelly, my co-founder, and Brendan Conway and Sarah Richardson and I have been doing all kinds of different projects, including Masks, Bluebeard's Bride, and recently I've been finishing Cartel, which is my long-suffering, very in-depth Mexican narco fiction game, which I sent to print on July 1st. So
Ooh, congratulations!
It's like very exciting time for me. But in non-Magpie news, I went and stayed in a cabin last week, which was pretty nice. So I got out of this one room that I have spent the last 4 months in, and I went to the woods and went hiking. So I'm from New Mexico, so there's like a lot of open spaces here, and it's kind of been a bummer to have to be inside all the time. But we went and we didn't see anybody but each other, but we got to go out and do some cool things. So
Nice.
it was nice to get some fresh air.
Yeah, I've been working in my backyard a lot lately. Just to not be stuck in these four walls all the time. It just
Yeah.
yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a backyard. So yeah, I've been working there like from like 8 to 4 every day. And every meeting I have now that I'm just outside and I'm like, you get to hear birds now.
It's awesome. Very cool.
B, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where we can find you, what you do, any projects and things you got going on?
Yes, absolutely. Well, hello. My name is B Zelda. I'm normally found on Twitter as at B_Zelda. Coincidentally, I do something similar as Victoria, where we make a podcast together called The Broadswords. All women, non-binary D&D podcast. It's wonderful. You should check it out. Other than that, also, wow, there's some similar people that do kind of what I do with Magpie Games, where I'm a GM with the curated play program. And if you ever want to sit at our virtual table or hang out with me at a virtual table, you can always sign up with the Magpie Games curated play program. And I hang out on Twitch sometime and play games.
Yeah, yeah, you do. Kienna.
Hey, it's me, Kienna. I'm super excited to be here. I am Kienna, also known as Kienna S on the internet, and also Sweet of Salty Sweet Games. You'll meet my co-partner in a hot second. But I'm a TTRPG creator, so I'm kind of all over the internet doing social role-playing things, whether that's streaming, writing, shouting to the void. Lots of good stuff out there. Minus maybe the shouting to the void part, but
I like that you've identified that one of you is salty, one of you is sweet. Was that like before the company you had identified that, or?
Yes. Yeah, we were like, what should we name our channel? And we looked at each other and we went, well, you're called that salty ginger. I'm kind of like the other side of that. What's the other side of that? Maybe
Beautiful.
Well, your professional name is Kienna Sweet, right? Or is it Kienna Sunrise? Is it any nominated Kienna Sunrise Sweet Shaw?
Ooh.
That's right.
Yes, that's entirely my full legal name.
Yeah,
I love it.
100%.
Yeah.
Credit
Any
them
nominated.
Like
Love it.
Middle name.
any nominated.
Which congratulations, by the way, on your
Thank
nomination.
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, for other people who don't know, I'm also the co-creator of the TTRPG Safety Toolkit, which we recently nominated for an Annie. And now I just get to sit and wait for 2 weeks and scream until they release the winners. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
fun.
Lauren.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I'm that salty ginger over on Twitter and the salty half of Salty Sweet Games with my best friend, whatever we just said, Kienna Sunrise Sweet Shot, that one. Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at that salty ginger, and you can see that I play games. I have recently joined the ranks of the Magpie curated play program as a GM, and I'm so excited because I love the games I've played from Magpie so far. So I'm
Nice.
here now to learn a new one, and I can't wait. I'm very excited. I love zombies.
Mm-hmm. And, well, I'm Victoria. I'm the host for this show. I am, like you said, B said, I am the DM and producer of The Broadswords. We're an all-woman, non-binary D&D podcast, though in about a year it won't be D&D anymore. We don't know exactly what it will be, but it will be something else. And I can be found over at Renegade Game Studios, working their social media and marketing stuff. And I am also a Magpie Games curated play program GM. Though this is my last month, unfortunately. But I've been having so much fun running masks. It's been a lot of good times. But today we are here to play some Zombie World. And I'm just like warning everyone, I'm going to be like this the entire time. Because I get really scared. When it comes to this sort of thing. Just so y'all know. So why don't we pass it off to Mark and let's get this ball rolling.
Awesome, great. So Zombie World is a game of survival zombie horror, but not like Zombicide or a game where you spend your time killing zombies. In fact, we're more interested in what happens, say, 6 months after the apocalypse, right? Not the day of apocalypse itself, which we fondly refer to as Z-Day in Zombie World, but instead what happens 6 months later. And so Zombie World is built around enclaves, which means that there is a place that your survivors have come and tried to build a life for yourselves, and has some small measure of stability. It's not going to have necessarily everything you would want, but maybe you have running water, maybe you have power, maybe you have walls and fences that keep the zombies out. But what you don't have is the security of knowing that everything's going to turn out okay, because with the zombie hordes out there, you know that things could go wrong at any time, right? So this game is very much like things like A Quiet Place, right? Where it's like watching how people have build their lives after things fall apart, which has no relevance to today's political situation or reality. But in this game, you're not going to play yourself. So when we look at character creation here, it's going to be very simple. You're going to get 3 cards. A past card that says who you were in the past. So everybody would like to be a Navy SEAL, but you might be an accountant, right? And that card's going to come to you face down. So one of the reasons we made Zombie World a card-based game is that there's some information that's even secret to me. I won't know what your character's past is. And it's up to you to tell me when we're going to reveal that past in the fiction. You also get some present cards. You're going to get 2 of them and pick one. The present card is face up. Everybody knows what your present is. Like if you're the cook or the tyrant or the killer, right? The person who does the dirty work of the enclave. That's a role you've taken on in the colony that everybody knows about, right? It's obvious. You do it every day sometimes. But your final card, your trauma card, is going to come to you face down. And that's going to represent how you have dealt with the fall of everything. And maybe it's really central to your character. Like you might have a card that says cruel, and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to play to that. That's what I'm going to do. Or it might be something that only comes out when you're very stressed. It's up to you to decide what the role of that is. Okay. So before we make our enclave, a quick content warning note. Obviously, zombie fiction has gore, horror, violence. I definitely run a Zombie World game that kind of focuses more on emotional challenges than physical horror. But part of what makes zombie fiction great is that at any moment, those zombies could grab you, right? And that's a kind of overall tension of the game. Okay. So, any questions before we move on to looking at the Enclave? No? Great. We're going to be using the farm deck, which is available in Roll20. It's a supplement, and it's one of the extra decks of cards you can add. And in Roll20, it's available as part of the deluxe pack. So if you buy the deluxe pack, you get the farm and mall, which are both the supplements included. So we're going to use that as our set for today. And if you look at the farm, you can see that there's one card that's dedicated to having a couple of extra moves that you might use. This is a Powered by the Apocalypse game, so there are moves that you can trigger. We'll talk about those in a moment. But what's most important is that there's a set of decisions that we're going to make about what our farm looks like. And so if you look, there are scarcities, surroundings, population, and advantages. Scarcities indicate what makes living in the apocalypse difficult, right? So if you look at the farm, suburban comforts is already checked. That means there's probably not a lot of toilet paper. Getting a shower at the farm is a bit of a challenge. There's probably not a lot of books, right, or anything like that to keep yourself occupied. If you were in the hospital or the prison, maybe this wouldn't be the scarcity you had. But as we're playing the farm, that one's kind of fixed. The other ones we're going to pick, and we'll talk about them as we go through. Surroundings is what's next to the farm, right? And that can sometimes lead to things coming to the farm you don't want to come to the farm. So for example, if you pick that there is a significant cave system, then now we know, okay, cool, there's this cave system, maybe it has zombies in it. Maybe people sometimes get lost there. That's going to be a part of our fiction that we look at together. We also have population, which will tell us about a few of the people who live here, and then advantages, which tell us about what are some of the strengths of your community, and those have specific moves attached. So Victoria, why don't you pick first? Pick one of any of these categories off the list, and we'll check it and add it to our farm.
Okay. Scarcity then, because we have to choose one more, right?
We're going to choose two of each of these.
Okay.
So whatever you pick, somebody else will get to choose one too.
All right. I'm going to choose this privacy as a scarcity.
Awesome. What does that look like to you? How come there's not much privacy at the farm?
I think there's like bunk beds. We're sharing spaces.
Maybe like a farmhouse is.
Yeah, it's an old farmhouse. Like cool. One of those old red brick farmhouses with the gable roof.
Okay.
And
that's awesome.
It's not super big. There might be a barn or something that we've kind of converted to some areas if there's extra people there. But for the most part, yeah, there isn't a huge amount of privacy. We have to share rooms and things like that.
That's great. So where do people go when they want to have some alone time with other people? Like if there are couples at the farm that might occasionally sneak off into the woods, or is this the kind of situation where people just kind of are used to living in the same space together? Like, what does that look like? How bad is the privacy in some ways?
Ooh, I think like you got to put the sock on the door.
Okay, so there's some like not everybody kind of has negotiated this space. Like they found some ways to make the best of this situation.
Yeah, it's like having roommates in college.
Perfect, good. Everybody's kind of piled on each other, and you're just trying to make the best of it, but tempers may flare, embarrassing situations may occur. That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Great. Kienna, why don't you pick something next? You can pick a scarcity, because we do need two of those, or two plus what we started with, or you can pick from a different list.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pick from population.
Cool.
And since you literally just mentioned it, I think I want to grab a group of refugees from a city.
Oh, awesome.
I put people who are not in their comfort zone.
That's great. So they're kind of city folk. Like they're already upset about the fact that there's no running water necessarily, and that they have to, can't take a shower every day.
Yeah, and they're cramped spaces, and like there's nothing but fields and around, and there's no entertainment. I think that's a really interesting thing.
That's great. So tell me, how did they get here? Did they just stumble upon the farm, or did maybe one of them know about it?
I think one of them probably knew about it. Maybe they did one of those like summer
that's good.
like residencies at the farm. One of those programs where you're supposed to like build character by going and doing a farm. I almost did that in early university because it was highly suggested to me, and I was like, nope.
That's perfect. I love it. So somebody new to come out here, but they brought folks who didn't know anything about the farm. And
Yes, correct.
Perfect.
And like, who knows how good this person was at, doing farm things while they were doing summer internship ?
Perfect. B, why don't you pick one?
I mean, because we had spoken about it earlier, I am drawn to, under surroundings, a large lake.
Yes.
I knew it.
There it is, the lake. Okay, so this lake is big enough that people fish in it? Like, it's that large?
Oh, it's a big lake, yeah.
That's great. Cool. Yeah. Like I said, we were
sure.
up in the woods this weekend, and I was thinking about like, oh, look at this beautiful, sitting around the lake fishing, except there maybe are sometimes zombies in the lake.
That just seems terrifying to me.
Do people go swimming in the lake, or is it everybody's like, no?
We have folks that have tried to fish. Limited success, for sure.
Limited success. Good. Mm-hmm. I love it. That's awesome. Okay, next, Lauren, how about you would pick one off the list?
Give me the bunker. Gimme.
You like the bunker? Okay, cool.
Please.
Let's talk about that. So we've got some advantage cards. And the advantage cards will tell us specifically what you get for having the bunker. So let me show you the farm deck for the advantages. And we can choose one. So I'm going to choose the bunker and put it out on the table. Sweet. There it is. And so it says, when you usher yourselves and others into the bunker for safety, draw survival. It's one of the stats. We'll talk about it. Cool. On a hit, you are safe. The door is treated as perfectly barricaded until something changes. On a triumph, which is like a 10 plus, it's like the best outcome, the safety is palpable. Everyone inside can clear one stress. On a miss, you find evidence the bunker's safety has been breached. So this means that there's a place here that has the potential to be truly and perfectly safe from the zombies. And that's a big deal because in zombie world, there are very few such places that are truly safe. Look good?
Looks great.
Perfect. Good. Okay.
I feel like someone built this back in the Cold War.
I was going to say, is it
legit? It's a
legit
awesome. Bunker.
Okay, cool. So this is like a nuclear, like you are prepared. There might even be some food and water resourcists down here.
This was Grandpa was a paranoid.
Is a prepper, right?
Yeah.
Survivalist.
I love it. That's great. Cool. All right, good. So let's just go in reverse order. So we got Lauren. Why don't you pick another one so you get to pick twice before everybody else gets to pick?
Okay. Yes. Okay. I want the thick forest, thick with 3 C's forest. I'm picturing like the forest from The Witch, like just terrifying, but maybe good for hiding.
So I like this idea, right? The farm is there; it's surrounded by the forest. There's a lake nearby, and just like there's no Google Maps anymore, right? There's no way for somebody to just punch in farm and know exactly where you are. And it's pretty easy to get lost in the forest coming to the farm, not being able to find your way. So there's some security here, but also there could be a bunch of zombies on you before you know.
Yep.
That's good. B, how about you? We've already got all the surroundings that we need. So pick from scarcities, population, or advantages.
Scarcities, population, or I'm gonna dig for population.
Great.
Give me, gosh, why would I want somebody incredibly useful? Give me some stranded tourists.
Why would we want this state trooper?
We're literally like farm with like people who don't know what they're doing.
No hunters, no state troop. We don't need that energy in our life.
No.
These aren't all the people that are there, but like your characters may be in this group or they may not. Like so this maybe is just that saying these people are definitely.
We're the competent ones.
You have acquired another group of tourists. Where are they from? Are they like international tourists?
Oh, I love that idea. They were here on like a tour to take photos of the landscape for like a magazine that they were going to publish back home. And that's just not going to happen. Maybe I was supposed to. I don't want to dig too much into what my role was, but yeah. Yeah,
we'll find out. Yeah, and that's tied to your past and the cards you get. But I love this idea that they're like there are no more transatlantic flights, right? So even getting back home is going to be a huge thing one day. Perfect, good. Kienna, we've got advantages and scarcities left.
I am going to pick a scarcity. And I'm looking through these, and honestly, I think security would be one of the scarcities on a farm.
Great, yeah.
I mean, there's not much, like, you got a fence, and that's about it.
That's it, right? So maybe there's some fencing, but there's not really any sort of defenses that you've been able to build.
I don't imagine that these farmers in the middle of the woods by a lake would be really concerned about being secure, other than just like what the general environment gives them.
And how come nobody's like built fences and walls that are really serious? Like how come the community hasn't gotten itself together to do that?
I think it's just one of those cases of like, you know, all of these farms are so separated from each other, like, you know, it just takes like 20-30 minutes to even get to the next one or the next one, or, you know, 2 hours away from the main town. So it's just hard to pull together that enough metal and wood, and especially if you want to keep, you know, weapons, or if you want to keep all that stuff.
So it may be something that the community might eventually do, but it hasn't happened.
It hadn't happened yet.
That's good.
Consider our skill level as well. I don't know if we have a whole lot of people that know how to build a fence in our group.
Like a wall, not like a fence, like a wall, right?
Yeah.
That's what you need, right? Yeah. It needs to be sturdy. So good. All right, Victoria, last pick. You get to pick from the last three advantages.
All right.
Local maps or water source.
Well, I mean, we already have a water source with a lake.
Sure. Remember that advantages are safer. So if you, like this would mean that you'd have a safer water source in some meaningful way.
I think we are going to have. Why do we need a safe water source? You know, it's not like that's necessary for human life or anything like that.
It's not for sure. Sure. You could totally pick something else.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have some fast vehicles.
Great. Okay. Cool. So fast vehicles. This card says when you use your fast vehicles to flee a threat, draw survival, and on a hit you flee quickly and safely. On an edge, which is like a 7 to 9, your vehicles are damaged or depleted, and you exhaust the advantage. So when an advantage is exhausted, you got to do something to like refresh it, like work on those vehicles, get them running again, get gasoline, that kind of thing. And then finally, on a miss, you escape one threat and plow right into another. So it means when you hop on those fast vehicles, no matter what you draw, you're getting away. You just might run into some other problems down the road. Cool. And are these just like the ATVs that the farmers had around, or was there some other reason that you ended up with multiple of these kind of fast vehicles?
Are we a biker gang?
Oh,
I'm just tossing that out there.
I mean, I'll be a biker gang.
Okay, cool. So this is like the fast vehicles are actually motorcycles. Like you have a bunch of motorcycles that are here.
Oh yeah.
I like it. Okay, cool, good. Okay, so now that we have our farm and we've kind of designed it separately from our characters, right? We can see that there are going to be some of these that are NPCs. There'll be some that are PCs. I'm going to deal everybody a past card. Okay, these past cards are face down, and I'll draw one to kind of show you what they look like to make sure there's a you're familiar with it before we have to do it. So let me deal one. I'll just deal one card to everyone, and I'll show you mine.
Okay.
So everybody's got a card. So my card, I'm going to put out here on the table, and you'll notice it comes out face down, which is good because it's supposed to be secret, right? And then we're going to go ahead and flip it face up, if I can remember how to flip it.
I have to right click, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Of course, I'm not going to. There it is. Flip card. Cool. All right, so the card I drew is Survivalist. So to reveal this card, I share a vital resource of your own with another survivor. So I know that I'm a survivalist, but you all don't know yet. But I can reveal the card by doing that thing in the fiction. So maybe I say, oh yeah, no, like I owned the farm. I built the bunker. You know, that's the thing. And then during the story, when I take one of the other characters down to the bunker and say, hey, here's some guns and stuff I've stored, then this card would flip over. When a card is revealed, I get this ability. Draw +1 when you use your supplies to deal with the dead. Until it's revealed in the fiction, I don't get that ability yet, right? So there's an incentive for you to go do that thing and show it. There's also a disincentive, which is that when people help or interfere with you, they draw a number of cards equal to how many cards you have exposed, meaning that you are much easier to mess with when other people know who you are and what you're doing. Okay, so there may be some advantages to keeping some of your past a secret. Okay, cool, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, so you're going to get 2 present cards, and the reason you get 2 is that you have had some choice about your life after Z-Day. There were paths you could have taken, and so you're going to get an opportunity to choose between 2 present cards. When you put these down out on your character sheets, this will be face up. So you're going to pick one and go ahead and put it out. I'm going to deal 2 cards to everyone, and I'll show you mine again. Okay, and so I got Diplomat and Butcher. Diplomat is someone has to deal with new people who arrive at your enclave, or with other enclaves entirely, or with lone survivors, or anyone who is a part of the group already. That's you. You're the voice of your enclave and you negotiate on its behalf. Or Butcher, you do what the enclave needs. Sometimes that means slaughtering an animal and scraping the meat off its corpse. Sometimes that means chopping up a human body into little itty bitty pieces. Whatever, you don't mind getting your hands dirty anymore. And so this is the choice, right? I get to choose one of these 2 roles. So for example, for my survivalist, I kind of like the idea that I'm the diplomat. That's cool. So I'll take the diplomat card and put it here in my present spot. And that would be something everybody knows. Everybody knows that if somebody new comes to camp, go talk to Mark's character. He's the person that would be able to get you integrated, okay? So take a moment and choose your present. And when everybody has, I think you could just delete the other card or put the cards out on the various character sheets we have here. Then when everybody's set, we'll deal out our traumas. Cool?
Okay. How do I delete a card?
I think
Right-click?
you got to pull the card out. You should be able to pull. Once you pull the card out of your hand and put it on the table, you should be able to manipulate it.
There we go.
I'm just gonna take this top right character sheet.
I'll
Yeah,
take
go for it.
bottom
Everybody
left.
can. Yeah.
Cool.
I put my name in mine. I'm bottom right.
Oh my
There you
god.
go.
I'm gonna be so silly. I love myself.
All right, and then I will take this one. Hopefully no one else is using it. Text. What's my name?
It's up to you. Once we get all your cards, then we can talk names.
Oh, I have a name. It's fine.
I
Is that
saw
the
your
first
name.
thing we do?
I like it.
I know what my name shall be.
The cook.
Yeah, I guess I can toss my thing onto my present.
And you should toss your past out there too, so we can know who's flipped their past over and who hasn't.
Will we still be able to see it without flipping it over?
That's true. I don't know if you'll be able to. I haven't.
Well, I'm gonna take a picture just in case. 'Cause I like this a lot.
Yeah, I
like this a
should
lot.
probably take a picture too. And everyone, don't look at Twitch, because you will see mine.
Just don't look at the streaming stuff.
No, don't look.
Don't do it.
Oh,
Don't.
you're
Everyone
one of
else
the
gets to see
refugees.
mine, but
That's perfect. Cool. So who has the refugee card?
That is me.
Perfect. So you have 4 allies. We'll talk about allies. Everybody else is going to get 1 ally. You're going to get 4.
Oh,
Right?
fun.
You have 4 NPCs
Wow,
who
Kienna.
are orbiting you.
Hit me.
So friendly.
Social butterfly.
That's right. Okay.
Nah.
It sounds like everybody's getting ready. So I'm going to go ahead and deal out a trauma card.
Yeah,
And
give me.
Woo!
Just like the past, you don't get to pick your trauma card. It is how
Yeah.
you have dealt with this terrible reality. So for me, I would have drawn. Flip it back over.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
I would have drawn
No.
cowardly. So I do get +1 soul when I reveal cowardly, which means that I actually get to add +1 to one of my stats when I reveal this card. But while it's revealed, I can clear a stress when I convince someone else to propose a plan. So I get to clear a stress every time I whisper in someone's ear until they finally propose a plan to the group, right? So I'm not going to do it. I want somebody else to do it, right? And I could keep this face down the whole game. I could turn it over right away. I get to choose when my trauma is revealed. And to somewhat, I envision it as like, how much do you wear your trauma on your shoulder? Are you the kind of person where everybody knows you're
Mark,
or you keep it on the hush hush, right?
no. And we put our trauma card face down on the mat.
Trauma card should be face down.
I love mine. I love it.
Okay.
How do I place something face down?
You
I
should
think
just be
it
able to
should
drag it out of
automatically.
your hand,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it should come out face down. If you accidentally put it face up, we'll all avert our eyes.
Yes. Like you're the Ark of the Covenant.
There we go.
I'm just writing down these notes. Oh boy.
Okay. So now that we've got our characters, I'm going to give everybody an ally card, and I'll put out a couple extra for you, Kienna.
Awesome.
But ally cards come from the survivor deck, and sorry, not the survivor deck, the relationship deck, the population deck. Sorry.
Okay.
And we deal one out to everybody. And this is someone who you have developed a strong relationship with. So NPCs can be like loosely affiliated with you, friendly to you, hostile to you, but they can also be allies. And once they're allies, they're really close. Like if you ask them to do something, they're going to default to doing it. You don't have to convince them to do it. They're like, yeah, no, I'm on your team. I'm on your side. If you do things that alienate them and hurt them, they're going to stop doing that, right? They'll eventually be like, hey, no, I don't trust you anymore. But they're going to start very much trusting you. So for me, I would have drawn this card, Layla. And Layla is a dentist, and her skills are bartering, empathy, medicine, and she has a drill. And so those are things that might affect when I tell her to go do something. Like, so if I say, hey, Layla, go negotiate with these people. I'm going to go sneak around and do this thing. You go talk to them. Then because she has bartering, she's going to have a better chance of that working out for her. If, I don't know, she needed to pull somebody's tooth out, then she can use that drill. That equipment can matter. So if you've got an ally who's a cop and they've got a gun, that equipment can matter, right? Make sense? Cool?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So I'm also going to deal a couple of more cards to Kienna because she has so many friends.
Have all the friends.
That's
All
so
the
great
friends.
for Kienna.
Yay, friends.
Okay, so that should be it with the exception of stats. So everybody's got the cards they're going to get, but I want you to go ahead and fill in your stats. You have 4 stats: savagery, soul, steel, and survival. Savagery is a measure of your sort of physical imposition when you get in someone's face, but also when you turn to violence, and when you turn to violence against the zombies as well. Soul is about your connection with other people, about how well you understand what they're asking you, and also like how well you understand yourself to some degree. Like, are you a self-aware person? Steel is about how stable you are when you're trying to calm someone down. You draw with steel, but it's also kind of about like how tough you are in the moment. And then finally, there's survival. Survival is not about toughness. Survival is about survival. Like, are you the character who will come out of this okay? Are you a character who knows how to use things like a bunker to make sure that you make it through to the next day of the zombie apocalypse? Okay, cool. So go ahead and fill those in. You get 1 at 3, 2 at 2, and 1 at 1. If a card gives you a bonus, you can add it at any time. So you could have a 4 if you want, or you can have no 1s and you only have a 2. It's up to you. Okay. Any questions?
No.
I'm
Great.
good.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we'll give everybody a chance to go around and introduce their characters real briefly, and then we'll get right to it. And if you want to put your ally cards out, we got plenty of room here, so we can put ally cards next to your character sheet.
Okay.
Maybe even move these down just a little bit.
Sweet.
And one of the cool things about playing this on Roll20 versus playing it at home is if you're playing a second session, you can just leave everything.
Yeah.
Like, right? Just leave everything out and log back in. You don't have to like get all the cards out of the box again, right? So,
Really nice.
so it's pretty cool. We can pick this up later. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Claire Price. Claire, tell us about yourself. And remember, like, we don't know your past and trauma, so you can tell us whatever you've told people. What is common knowledge around the farm?
What's common knowledge? Common knowledge is just that I think I was a farm girl, to be honest.
Okay.
I grew up on a farm, and so I'm used to hard work. I'm used to hunting. I'm used to the area, the land. And this is something that, yeah, that's what people, I'm from the area originally, so
That's cool.
I'm the scout. So I know this area very well, and I can lead and guide people around in this area.
That's awesome. I love it. Tell us about your friends, Darian.
Yeah, Darian, Spiros. They're journalists for the local rag, and
That's cute.
Yeah.
Like the local like town and farm paper.
Yes.
Like, that's awesome. I love it.
And we've known each other for years. We went to school together, and we went different routes, but that's all right. We're still good friends.
Cool. Okay, so you two grew up together at some level. So there's some like real deep, like that who the other is. Kind of trust. That's awesome. I love it. Good. Okay, let's talk about D. D.
Yeah, I am playing D. D is one of the people who did come from the city, and did come with the motorcycle. So she does have that, and kind of intimidating looking. Definitely a bit standoffish and more towards just her, like the group of people that she came with, but eventually would end up getting. Once you get past the original like standoffness, she's pretty chill, quieter for sure, and just does what she can to help out. So
Cool. So D has a 1 steal. So does that mean that she's
not very cool-headed, and she's not super observant.
I see.
She's very like impulsive in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
Where her emotions take her, they take her.
Good.
So it's like she's very quiet, and then all of a sudden something will happen, and so it's like a 0 to 100 really quickly on anything.
That's great.
So, yeah.
So you got Juanita, Keaton, Danny, and Alanya.
Yeah.
What do these people see in you? Why are they so close?
I also have Juanita, who is the drug dealer. I'm just reading through all these people now. I think we just all of these seem very city people, and I think we all kind of came in that same group. Maybe we didn't leave together the city, but we met up and we
love it.
We ended up coming together and reminiscing about the back to the city and all that stuff. Wondering what happened back there, and so just sharing those moments ended up creating a bond, and we all just ended up hanging out together.
I love it. It does, as a refugee, when you open up to someone about the horrors you've witnessed, you're going to draw survival instead of soul, right? So that's a moment in the fiction in which you can just make stuff up, tell us about, what was this crazy zombie stuff we saw? Anytime you're opening up, you're getting a chance to add background to the fiction. But you in particular, you're not just somebody who fled. Like, you managed to escape a city, right, filled with zombies, right? You're kind of unique. Cool. Anything else you want to share with us about Dee?
I think that she has like this motorcycle jacket that she like never takes off, even when it's really hot outside.
That's awesome.
And everyone's just like, "Why do you wear that all the time?" Just like, I just feel like it.
Do we have matching jackets?
Yes, I mean obviously.
Okay, Roxy.
Yes, hi. Yes. So I think Roxy's like where she came from, I think is very enigmatic. Like she doesn't talk about it, anything like that. She just showed up one day. And yeah, like with a small bag on her own,
Okay.
just seemingly out of nowhere.
With
But
with just by no one else, just
yeah,
by yourself. Okay.
just by herself.
Yeah.
And I mean the bag was like stuffed of stuff, but still it's like weird that she was alone, especially right now, like in this time. But she became close with Sandy, the farm owner, and has been kind of became close to her first and started cooking for everybody. Like she's not very sociable, but like she would come by and like have soup and it was like actually good. Like there were flavors in it. And I think that's how she formed like a connection with people, was through that. I imagine like the strong and silent type. I'm like young Charlize Theron.
Yeah. So you're a little standoffish. People don't get that close to you, but you're valued. Like there's a sense that you do something for the community that really matters. That's great. So is it cool with everybody if we say Sandy owns the farm? Like, does that kind of make sense to everybody? Like, this is the farm. You know, all of those things. Yeah, but those aren't active things. Like, Juanita's not actively a drug dealer. At least she was a drug dealer back in the city, right? And now, I mean, I guess she's still. But like, where are you going to get drugs in the zombie apocalypse, right? So if this is Sandy's farm, you know, you're closer to Sandy than probably anybody else, right?
Yeah.
And is that because he sees, like, do you remind him of his daughter? Like, is there something about an experience that you two had? What is it that brought you two together?
That's a good question. I think. Ooh. Can I have saved him?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So you saved his life.
Yeah, I think like maybe even the night I arrived, like I was being trailed or something by some undead motherfuckers. Yeah. And you know, and like Sandy was there and tried to help, and then got, you know, as it usually does, things dogpile.
Things escalated.
Yes. And so I was able to pull them out of there. I have a 3 in savagery. I'm very strong.
Yeah, you're strong.
I'm mysteriously strong.
Mysteriously strong.
Why is that cook so strong?
That's great. So yeah, so Sandy really feels like he owes you his life, and he's very impressed with you. That's great. How does he feel about all these people living on the farm? He would tell you.
Oh yeah.
How does he feel about all these people who have come to live on his farm?
I get the feeling that Sandy is very generous, and like at first when like the first couple people arrived, it was very like welcoming, and like that's what I feel like all the tourists and like everyone at this point, I feel like it's starting to wear on him.
I see. Okay. Yeah. He's not the kind of person who would turn anybody away, but we've reached kind of a breaking point.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. And we talked about the privacy, right? Like everybody's just piled on top of each other. No problem. Good. Okay. B, is this Xavier name old? Did this get left over?
Oh, this is me. I'm Xavier.
Yeah. Oh, you're Xavier. Okay. Good.
Yes.
Cool. Yes. Good. Okay. Great. Perfect.
I was writing things as soon as we loaded up Roll20.
Oh, sorry. I saw Sally as well, but Sally is your ally.
My ally.
Cool. Yeah. Go for it. Xavier, tell us about Xavier.
Xavier has been traveling the countryside for quite some time, pretty much since the beginning of this the zombie apocalypse, ever since Day Z, you know?
Yeah.
And he has met a lot of people along the way, and then most recently, I think he saved perhaps one of the neighboring farms from a horde that had passed by. And by save, I mean only Sally was the one that made it out. And Sally had said, well, there's a farm somewhere down that way. You know, the horde's going the opposite direction. We should be okay if they're still there. Sure enough, they were. So Sally and I showed up. I probably argued with, who's the farm owner? Sandy?
Sandy Colton, yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little argumentative. It's just kind of my nature. I can't believe anything that anybody says in these times. Not enough people listen to me is kind of what I think the issue is.
You're a skeptic. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. How do you and Sally get along? Like, is Sally see you as her ally because she doesn't have anybody else, or is there a real bond of trust there?
I think it's a little fraught. She thinks that I probably could have saved more people, and I disagree.
Okay.
So she's absolutely grateful for her life. But nonetheless, there's some tension. So we hang out because we kind of only have each other, but it's not all comfortable.
Perfect. Good. Okay. That's awesome. Wonderful, wonderful cast. We will still have other characters. I mean, there's probably 30 people plus people who live here at the farm. So I may draw other cards from the population deck and add them to our board. But this gives us a really good sense of where all these folks are. Our last step is to deal out some relationships between the various characters. And then we're going to jump right in with a time passes card where I get to draw a card to help prompt me to give us some things to make happen. So let's go ahead and get started with some relationships. So first relationship, we're going to do between, let's go between Claire and Roxy.
Ooh.
And I'm going to deal one card to me, and I'm just going to put it right out on the table, and this is going to be between the two of you, so I'm going to put it here. And basically this is just going to set up a little bit of relationships between our PCs. The first one is the two of you share a special emotional bond between Claire and Roxy. What is it?
Okay.
So ultimately, this is going to be Claire's decision, right? So it's going to be her card attached to her. But like the two of you should talk and be on the same page. But really, it's Claire's opportunity to say something about this relationship.
All right. Yeah, I think so. You're the cook. I'm the scout. And as a scout, I go out and make sure things are okay. I think I probably do some hunting too, because if I'm out there doing that sort of thing, and I occasionally bring rabbits and things to you for cooking, and I think it is a emotional bond of respect for what we do for our community.
That's cool.
We both provide for the community, so we share that.
There's a sense of you both being like good community members, like really stable, important pillars of what this community needs.
Yeah, and I'm not the most talkative person either. I think like my soul is one as well. So I think I respect that quietness and need for quiet and privacy. And
are there times where like the two of you like hang out and don't talk, like just like sit around together?
Yes.
Non-awkward silence.
Yeah.
Non-awkward silence.
Valuable.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Everybody else tries to talk to you. It's very annoying, right?
Mm-hmm. We just sit there, cooks. I skin rabbits. It's
good.
Nice and sociable for us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Well, let's go with Roxy and Xavier then. So the two care about a third member of the Enclave. Why do you feel the need to protect them? So this could be an ally who's already been named, or it can be somebody new if you all want to invent somebody new that we can add. But
is it the drug dealer? Do they still have some drugs? Is it just like weed?
I mean, in her equipment, it does say that she has a stash.
She probably has a little stash that she has with her for sure, yeah.
Two of you care about a third member.
Roxy, why do you care about her?
Not for her drugs.
It's up to Roxy ultimately. It's her card, kind of, right? But like that's an interesting idea. It could be that you have this person that's somebody else's ally that you feel like does something special for you.
Elena. I think Elena. I think the musician. I think that's really, I mean, I think that is kind of like, it's a less maybe tangible value to people, but I think that's, stories and music, that's how people come together. So I think that's like really special.
That's great. So is that cool with you, Xavier?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of beautiful too. We probably don't have some radio anymore.
Yeah.
Power doesn't work for the old CD player.
Yeah. So here's this musician, right? Okay, so what makes her needing protection now? I mean, everybody in the community is in danger, but what puts this person in special danger?
I think she's. I don't know. Is she maybe not? Maybe she hasn't really ever had to like stand on her own 2 feet, like just by herself against anything. Like, so maybe there's that kind of, yeah, maybe she's just not like physically adept at fighting or something like that.
Okay, so she seems to you to maybe be somebody who like would be in grave danger if anything actually
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the regular world, that's totally this guy. Me, I'm like not gonna deal well if there's a zombie apocalypse. But like it's not a big deal, right? Because there's like lots of people around, but now there's nobody around, and if she gets hurt, there's no hospital to take her. So okay, cool. Good. Okay, next up is Xavier and Dee. Let me pull a card for you two. This one says the two of you have done something awful for the Enclave.
Xavier doesn't have a lot of morals, so his idea of what's awful is questionable.
It could be that other people think it's awful. You think monogamy is necessary, but you understand other people would think that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What have we done that was awful? But it was for the Enclave,
It was for the Enclave. It wasn't for selfish reasons. It wasn't because you hated somebody, but you did it for other people.
Ooh, so, I mean, the farm's already pretty full. What if there were other people that came by?
We chased them off.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is it about these people that made you feel like they wouldn't be safe?
They were a large group with many, many children. Like they only had so many adults to protect them. We have the content warnings.
Why? Okay, so this was maybe, and even just to drive it home, like really hit the themes of the work. Like, maybe one of them was bit or something. Like you thought maybe, like you're like these people aren't safe. They're reckless. They're not a good thing for this community. And the two of you agreed, like we need to take a stand. And so, Dee, did you ask the other refugees to help you as well? And all of you kind of
probably.
Yeah. Okay. So you just informed these people that they were not welcome. Okay?
Yeah.
Did other people know about it, Xavier? Like, was it public, or did you do it kind of in a secret way?
I think I tried to make it secret, but it was a large ass group. Like,
that's great.
All it did was take for Claire to step outside the front porch and be like, "Oh, do we have guests?" And then Xavier's like, "No, nobody, nothing to worry about. They're going."
That's great. I love it. Good. So you gave them a little water and told them that you wished them their best, but they were not welcome to stay. Right?
It was lake water too. It wasn't.
It wasn't even our good water. That's awesome. Okay, that's great. Dee, anything to add to that?
I think that's pretty solid.
Did you feel you felt like Xavier won you over pretty quickly with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, it's just gotta, and that's why I was able to pull in my allies too, because I was able to kind of go to them and be like, look, like, I know we want to save everybody, but this ain't happening.
This ain't happening. Yeah, good, cool. Okay, finally, Dee and Claire, the two of you have a plan to escape the Enclave if things get bad. Why? What's the plan?
Ooh, oh, that's fun. Well, I mean. I clearly have experience getting the fuck out of places that are infected by zombies. I've gotten out with people, and I think it's kind of one of those things of like, we know that security's not great. We know that the horde's gonna come at some point, and there's no way to really hole up in here. Like, even if we did hole up in the bunker, that's only gonna go for so long.
Right. Like, and so why do you have this plan with Claire? Like, what does Claire bring to this?
Claire's the scout. She knows her direction. She knows the lay of the land, where Dee doesn't, in this particular type of terrain. Claire is important in that sense of being able to know, how do you hunt? How do you, find good forage, and like, how do you navigate these places when you don't have like GPS on your phone available?
That's great. And Claire, why would you make this plan with D? What does D offer to you that would make you think about, yeah, no, if we need to get out, I'm with you?
Because D is good at survival. And I don't want a weak link. If I'm escaping the horde,
Yeah.
I want someone strong with me, and I respect that. I
Yeah.
respect that strength. So that is the plan. Like to go off. I definitely think some motorcycles should be involved in our escape plan.
Okay.
I don't
The
know.
idea, maybe we could say something like you've set aside a little bit of gasoline and a little bit like you've done something to kind of get ready, but it's not enough for everybody. Like it's not enough to bring everybody along. Just enough people to get out and feel like you're going to do right by your people, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Wonderful. Okay. That's awesome. So that's everything for setup. Is there any questions before we jump into a scene? No? Awesome. Great. So let me, actually, it occurs to me, before we jump into a scene, we can do a really quick just view of the move. So in a Powered by the Apocalypse game, for those of you watching at home, if you haven't played before, you get to do moves when you trigger them. So for example, one of the fundamental moves of Zombie World is to get in someone's face. So when you get in someone's face, you draw a savagery. You're going to draw a number of cards equal to the stat that you have. And then on a hit, they have to choose. They either mark a stress and escalate or concede. So if you get up in someone's face and you tell them to go away, you're not welcome here, they either have to mark a stress and escalate, which means they go from like words to fists or fists to guns, right? They can't just say, I yell back real loud. Right? They actually have to take it to the next level, or they have to concede and move along. On a triumph, which is a special kind of success, you take +1 forward against them if they escalate. So you're actually better at fighting them because they're intimidated. Now, what does it mean to draw? Well, we have a special deck called the Survivor deck that we're going to draw from every time that we do this. So, for example, you might draw 3 cards, or we'll say 2 cards, Xavier, if you told them to go away, and you take the best of those 2 cards. Well, in this case, if you drew an edge and a triumph, you'd clearly take the triumph. The triumph, there's only one in the deck. There's only one in that deck. And the triumph says you get everything you want, right? You get the best outcome you could get with that move. An edge is a hit. See how they both say hit, but it's less of a certainty. It's more of like an in-between success, a partial success. Sometimes that means that you don't get everything you want. Sometimes it might mean you pay a cost to get what you want. The move will tell us what we get from it, okay? But there are other cards in this deck that are not so friendly. There's a couple of edges, obviously, but there are also misses, and you do get to take the best card. So if you draw edge, triumph, miss, you still get your triumph. But if you draw 3 misses, sorry, that's it. You're going to miss. And on a miss, I say what happens, and you may not like it. Well, it's probably supposed to be interesting and fun, but your character probably won't like it. Cool? All right. When you deal with this, we recall and shuffle every time. So you're always going to draw from a clean deck. There is a deck that's a little bit different, which is the bite deck. The bite deck is anytime you deal with zombies, you're going to draw from the bite deck. And there is in this deck somewhere a bite card. When you draw from the bite card, you get bit. That's it. You're bit. There's no hope for you. There's no safety. You're dead. You're not going to die right away, right, necessarily, but you know that your time is at an end. We do not reshuffle this deck until someone draws the bite card. Make sense? Cool. Okay, great. So, helping and interfering, we'll talk about. The moves we'll talk about as we as we go forward, as we trigger them. I will talk about each individual move and hopefully have you read it. But let's go ahead and get me a time passes card so I can see. Great, cool. So let's talk about what like a typical Tuesday looks like. Like, are you working on the farm? Is there stuff happening on the farm? So do you and your refugees, like you now make up a substantial portion of the overall farm population. What do you do like every day?
But more specifically on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays, especially.
Me, Claire?
Ask D. Like D.
D.
What do you and your refugees do? Do you work the farm? Do they try to do their best to help?
I think probably do their best to help. Um, I mean, I looked at all of my people, and they're extremely like bartering focused, which is very strange. But um, I I think they end up just kind of like helping to diffuse some of the tension that happens. Help bridge some of those gaps. I mean, Elena for sure, because she's the musician, she's able to kind of step in as like this very neutral, nice party at things. I wouldn't say like enforcers, but like people who are there to step in when people get a little too tense.
Okay, great. So they try to help. They maybe bring people water. They carry tools. They do whatever they can,
Yeah.
knowing that they're not exactly the best people to be out working a farm.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And again, kind of doing those like more interpersonal, like, all right, you two are having an argument. We're gonna separate you out, and now we're gonna have a conversation about what it's. I think that's kind of what they end up doing.
That's great. That's good. Okay, so you're looking around and they're kind of helping out and doing things, and you don't see Danny. Like you would expect everybody to kind of be out and around, but as you're just kind of looking around, people working, you don't see Danny anywhere.
Huh. Well, Danny is an athletic person.
Yep.
He really likes working out, and so I think that he ends up in the kitchen a lot. So D is going to go to the kitchen.
Go look for him. That sounds
Yeah.
great. Good, cool. So obviously, if you're going to the kitchen, there's a good chance you're going to run into Roxy, right? Who's often cooking. Roxy, how much of the time do you spend in the kitchen? Is it like?
I think that's Roxy's like comfort zone. That's her zen place. Yeah. And I mean, I think she does literally whatever. Like she'll pick up whatever job, especially like watch. But if she's not, she's in the kitchen, kind of in her space. I think she's doing push-ups right now.
getting strong, like being tough. Great, yeah. So what does that look like? Like, what does your kitchen look like? How do you keep it organized?
I think she hasn't made a ton of changes to Sandy's kitchen because I imagine it very much like it was like a pretty large space. Like there's a lot of space here. I mean, not now with everybody, but like the kitchen is like really beautiful. I think that's the thing, is it's like really beautiful and seems kind of untouched by all of this. I think she has, things like set up almost like what are the lines called? The factory lines, assembly line. Like she has things set up that way, but it still looks like you could walk in here and be like, oh, everything's fine. I think it's attached to like a large. I actually think they have dinner like maybe like out in the barn or something because there's just not enough room.
Yeah.
But there's like a small breakfast table, very like woodsy. Like
I like the idea that
warm.
Sandy's wife like redid the entire kitchen right before Z-Day, right? And so she passed away, and he doesn't know what to do with the kitchen at all.
Yeah.
Like, he's never cooked a day in his life, right? And so the kitchen is beautiful, right? Like it's all really well put together, but it's too small. Like nobody can really work in at scale, right? So you got all this stuff happening. That's great. So so D, what do you look like when you come in? Like are you and Roxy friendly enough that you just kind of barge in, or what does that look like?
I think it's a polite like knock on the door frame, but not as like a I'm not gonna wait to step in. It's just like a hello, I'm here, you seen Danny around?
You haven't seen Danny all day.
Yeah. There's this like pause of, and then which one's Danny?
As you say that, Sandy kind of comes downstairs. He lives in this house. Like he has the one bedroom up above it, and he comes down and he's got his glasses. He's cleaning, and he says, "Roxy."
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and he sees D and kind of stops. It's like a little awkwardly, like as if she's intruding.
No. I don't think so. Is he the one with the hat?
He's the one who usually comes at like around this time to steal something from the kitchen. Like he snacks at stupid hours.
Oh. I did chase him out with a spatula the other day. I haven't seen him since.
The boy with the glasses and the hat.
The hat, the hat.
Listen, I've been meaning to talk to you, right? And he kind of wags his finger and starts coming over to me. I've been meaning to talk to you about your people that you brought here. They've been causing trouble all over, and not just here in the kitchen. Roxy told me about all kinds of problems that these.
Sandy, no. I am very quiet. I haven't been talking about anyone, so.
He's getting himself kind of worked up, and you can tell that it's maybe not that he's particularly angry at you, but he finally sees a problem that maybe he could solve right here with you getting your people in line. What do you do?
I think Dee's like, hey, now, okay, look, problem? I mean, it sounds like you want to talk about it. Is there something that I need to go talk to the others about? What's up?
So it sounds like you're trying to calm him down.
Sure. It's not great, but sure.
Great. Okay, cool. So why don't you read Calm Someone Down in the mood?
Yeah. So when you calm an NPC down with logic or reason, draw steal. My one that's
your
one.
dump stat?
Yeah. On a hit, they won't do anything drastic, at least for now. On a triumph, I get to pick 2.
And he murders you in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. So let's. So we'll on a edge. I pick 1. They keep calm for some time. They reveal their true concerns, and they don't hold me responsible. That's gonna be great.
Any of that's
cool. So go ahead and draw 2 out of the survivor deck.
1. I get to.
Oh, sorry, 1. Just draw 1.
Hold.
Yeah. One whole card.
Oh, that's a miss.
Okay, now it is possible that Roxy might be able to help you out here. And here's how
I would
it works.
love to.
If you decide to help, you do have to mark a stress. You mark a stress to help. When your stress track fills, you got 5 boxes. On that 5th box, I give you a new trauma card, right? And you can only have so many of those before you're no longer a player character, right? If you help, though, you draw a number of cards equal to whatever D has face up, because that's how well you know D. That's how easy it is to help them. You get to replace any card she drew with one you drew.
I'll help because I guess I should help Kienna and not, murder her. Yeah, you know. Go. Let me just mark this lovely stress that I'm taking for you.
Beautiful.
Love
okay,
you.
and
I love you.
Go ahead and draw a card.
From the survivor deck, right?
From the survivor deck, yeah. And you can't obviously draw the miss she drew, so it's a little better odds.
So, and she has 1 card up, right?
It has the 1 card.
Edge.
Okay.
Hit.
So how do you help? What does that look like? You were already kind of hinting at it, I think.
Yeah, I think Roxy was like frozen in a plank, kind of looking up at this, and like finally stands up and puts a hand on Sandy's shoulder and says, I'll talk to them, Sandy. You don't have to worry about it. And I'll do it now. I'll help. D. It takes her a little second for the name. I will help D find Danny.
Danny, yeah.
Danny.
Yeah.
Danny.
Sandy,
Yeah, I said it first. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And like he has this thing where he does trust you, right? Like he really, and I think he maybe he has that kind of daughterly feeling with you. Like you kind of keep him on track the way you were talking to him. Like, come on, Dad. Like, don't, right? Like, so when you say that, he's like, oh, I'm just very concerned, right? And you kind of get him focused on something else. And distracted. Cool. Let's cut over to Claire and Xavier. So Claire, when you go out and scout, when do you usually do it? Like, is it kind of like in the morning, in the evening, during the day? What is that?
Yeah, it's first thing in the morning. I like to go just like I like to rise when the birds start to sing, and go out into the misty morn.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Xavier, how about you? Are you an early riser?
Oh yeah. I think we have this kind of old scythe where the handle is a little rusted, but it can still be sharpened well enough. So I spend my mornings kind of doing a workout by cutting down some of the. I imagine all the grass has been growing a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's all grown up over things and stuff,
So
right?
it's like a good 20-minute warm up, and there's a good section that's been like cut down now.
Okay, cool. So, Claire, when you go out and look for stuff, what are you looking for? Like, is it mostly, you know, like fruits and berries, or what is it?
Yeah, like I'll go. I think I have like some snares and stuff set up out there for rabbits and things like that. So I go check out the traps. I look around for, wild herbs and things like that I can also. I don't just pick them. I like to dig them up. I have satchels that I kind of keep on my belt that I can dig up. That way we can plant them. Um, in our garden so that we can have our delicious, flavorful soups from Cook. And yeah, so I go out and then I'm also looking for supplies. So if I come across any caches of fuel or anything metal that we can rework and use for other things. Yeah.
Awesome, good. So you're about like you walk past Xavier, who's like scything this grass back and forth, right? And you're only about 5 minutes into the woods when you see a tennis shoe, like sort of propped up against a tree that wasn't there last time you walked this path.
Yeah, at that point, I immediately crouch down.
Okay. So, Xavier, you probably could see Claire leaving through the trees, and you see her stop and duck.
Gonna pat my body. Do I have any weapons on me?
You don't have a scarcity of weapons, so you tell me.
Yeah, probably like a good hunting dagger with like some overly intricate carvings on the hilt that I bought at a pawn shop and has zero significance to me.
Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah, it seems. I mean, you might very well have a gun, but definitely a hunting knife seems pretty reasonable.
Can I push for a gun?
Sure, of course. Yeah, no problem. Like you don't have a scarcity of weapons, right? So it
True.
makes sense that sometime in your travel you picked up a gun.
Okay. I don't actually know anything about weapons, so what's the one with the revolver?
Like, oh, cool. Yeah,
yeah,
it's got 6 bullets in it, right? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
You
Okay.
could spin it,
cool.
I think. It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool when you spin it. Good. Okay.
Definitely that one. So,
Okay. So you got your knife and the revolver.
I kind of pat my jean pockets. I definitely have like denim washed or
acid wash.
Really, that's the word, acid washed
jeans,
denim
yeah.
jeans. B thinks they're ugly, but Xavier loves them.
Xavier loves them. Got it. Good. Cool. So do you creep kind of after her?
Yes, I'm
Awesome.
low crouched. I've got like survival mode activated and like my really good looking cowboy boots. They're keeping me as silent as ever, hopefully.
Sounds good. Love it. Good. You're stylish and brave in the zombie apocalypse. Good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you, Claire, you could see that it's a white tennis shoe, and you can see little flecks of red all over it.
Yeah. May I assess a bad situation?
Of course, yes. Anytime. Yeah.
All right.
So go ahead and read it for me.
When you assess a bad situation, draw steal. On a triumph, ask 2. On an edge, ask 1. When you act on the answer, draw +1. And then there's a series of questions that I can ask based on what I draw.
Great. Go for it.
All right. So I have 2 steal. So I draw 2 survivor.
2 from the survivor deck. That's right.
How do I just lift up?
You could you can drag them out from the deck.
So I have an edge and a miss.
Great. So you're set. Like your best card is an edge. You're going to take that middle result. Xavier is here, and if you want their help, or if Xavier offers his help, then you can draw cards. But you might be happy with that edge.
Yeah, I'm happy with that edge. I get to ask a question, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. What here is the biggest threat to me / the Enclave?
Okay, something attacked someone here recently. The blood on the ground and on the shoe tells you that it was probably not a zombie, because zombies do not spray blood across things. I mean, if they get you right in the jugular, then maybe, but this looks like somebody hit someone with a bat or a knife or something where there was some blood spray. And it looks like somebody was dragged further into the woods. So what here is the biggest threat? Whatever dragged someone into the woods. And that shoe, you think you might know it. There's a woman who lives here. Her name is Maya. She was a doctor, or at least a medical student. And she still has these white shoes that she wears.
It's Maya.
Can we say that perhaps I've been able to kind of creep close enough to
Sure.
see Claire inspecting and like holding and like
Yep.
properly examining this shoe?
Yep.
Yeah.
She's looking at the shoe. She says, "It's Maya."
She's kind of a important resource to us, you know, with all that medical information. What do you say you and I go deeper into that forest and perhaps find her?
Sounds good. And I at this point I had like my hunting rifle, you know how like undone, like how
Yeah.
it's bent. And at this point I close it.
Okay.
And I've got it out and I'm like, let's go.
Great, cool. All right, so the two of you sort of push into the woods, and as we see, like with the camera, like they're very thick, and very quickly you are kind of lost into the woods. Good. All right, so let's go back to D. You still get to pick some of these options off the list, right? Like he calmed down a bit, but you still have to pick one. Is he going to keep calm for some time? Is he going to reveal his true concerns, or is he going to not hold you responsible? You only get one. The other two probably are going to come to bear.
I'm curious as to what his actual concerns are here, because he's just been very vague. It's just like
Yeah. This seems strange for him, right? Yeah. Absolutely. So as he sits at the counter, and maybe you've made him a little breakfast because you knew he was going to wake up. Roxy, like he eats a little bit, and he does seem to kind of come to his senses. He says, I'm sorry. I'm not feeling well. There's and he coughs, and you can see, Roxy, blood on his hand. And he looks and very quickly tries to grab like a rag and cover it up. And you can tell, D, that he is very concerned about the farm. And as he looks at you and looks at Roxy, he says, I'm just a little worried about what's going to happen when I'm no longer here.
Don't talk like that, Sandy. I think she's saying this and she means it, but her eyes are scanning all over him.
Yeah. He says, I don't mean to alarm anybody. There was, about 10 years ago, I had, what do they call it? The medicine that makes you sick. Chemo. It was chemo. Yeah. Supposed to be all under and you can see he actually, like, there's a good deal of blood, and he sort of like tries to steady himself against the counter and starts to fall backwards and like collapse onto the floor.
She immediately goes to like catch him.
Yeah, and you catch him like he's sort of small, like even maybe smaller than you thought he would be. Like he's very light, and he like kind of like you can see he's just sort of coughing, and he can't stop. And by the time you kind of get him back up, you can see his lips are kind of red with blood, and he's kind of like a little bit gasping for air.
I'm gonna lift him up and like bring him to the couch.
Okay, great, cool. And what are you like? What's your plan here? Like as he sort of struggles to breathe, what's your plan?
Yeah, I think her plan would be get Maya.
get the doctor.
Mark,
right? Yeah.
Maybe get Maya.
Yeah, so that's fine. I mean, you could go look for Maya if you want, but like, what if it would be to go for help? Is the
yes.
Okay.
It would be to send D for help. I delegate.
Yeah. So you yell at her, like, are you like, go get help?
No, it's very like quiet and calm.
Okay.
I will note that even as she like picks up Sandy to do this, she like slings her bag over her shoulder. It's like just like a compulsion. Like she always has it with her. And she turns to D, go find the doctor student. I don't know her name.
Oh, Maya. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Yes, please.
Yeah, and she's gonna start heading out, and she's actually gonna call up one of the hallways for Elena to help Roxy.
Yeah, you're
she's
yelling
heading out the
outside
door.
for her. Yeah, good, sounds good. So I'm gonna have both of you mark a stress, right? That like this person that you come to rely upon, like
I love marking stress.
Like he seems very sick, right? And so you run outside. Now you're yelling for help. Is this like kind of like a yelling, trying to get somebody to pay attention, or are you gonna go straight to looking for Maya?
I think it's looking for Maya.
Okay.
I think that Dee has a pretty good idea of the people who are around here, and know that Maya's the one who's going to be able to help here.
It's gonna be the best one. Yeah, that sounds good. So so you run out to look for her, and I think we're gonna find out pretty quickly that she's not here, right? But as you go look for her, we'll cut back to the woods, the deep dark woods, right? So okay, so Xavier and Claire, what does it look like when you crawl through the woods? Are you being very careful? Are you walking confidently? What does that look like?
I'm being careful.
Yeah.
What about you, Claire? You should know better.
Oh, careful always.
Careful.
And I'm using a lot of like hand signals.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm
so
not talking.
This is like an operation. Like you're ready to like go into the woods. That sounds good. Okay, great. So you go a little bit further in, and you do like spot some blood on the ground on a tree. You do see like some signs that kind of lead you in a direction. But it's not long before the woods themselves present their own obstacles. You see, as you sort of walk past this pit in the ground, like a little sunken area, you do hear and see this like, and this undead thing puts one hand up out of that pit, and you can see that the lower half of its body is gone. It's just the upper half, right? And it's kind of slowly crawling out of the pit as you two, move slowly, right? Like it is creeping towards you. And this is just the woods, right? Like there's all kinds of stuff back here. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
Well, ain't that a tragedy? I got a knife. You want to stab it? Now isn't the time for sound, though.
You're pretty sure that if you stabbed it, you could kill it without it making a sound. And in general, if we look at the zombie moves, they all talk about a swarm of undead.
Yeah.
If you fight a single zombie, you win. You've got you're way better at fighting than one zombie. There's only one problem. If you fight it up close, you still got to draw from the bite tech.
Okay,
Mark.
I mean, if you shoot it with the gun, no bite tech draw, right? You're not getting close enough to do anything. But then, of course, sound.
No.
No. Okay.
I'm going to crawl over. And like I said, with those really nice stylized cowboy boots kind of shuffling along the dead soil beneath me, I will, kind of stalk over. And the goal is quick stab in the face and out.
Great, cool. As you start to move over, Claire, you see two people moving in the trees ahead. right? And you see like the zombie like make some noise, and you see one of them look that direction as Xavier crawls towards it, right? And jams it in the head, right? Okay, so we got our first draw from the bite deck. Go ahead and draw a single bite deck card.
Look at Bianca's cool-headed expression.
Hella excited for this. Where does it go when I draw it?
If you deal it to yourself, it'll come into your hand.
Jeez. Might have just like thrown it onto the.
Yeah, that happens too. You just if you just click and drag from the deck, it should just.
Okay, there might just be the only issue with drawing. I can't click and drag because it doesn't have that little thing that pops up at the top.
Draw option.
I can click draw one and then draw, and then it says ran out of cards before drawing all cards. Can you shuffle it perhaps?
Let me recall it.
Yeah.
Shuffle it. I'll just draw a card for you.
Okay.
Cool. There we go. Safe. Nothing goes wrong.
Good draw. Thank you.
So perfect. So yeah. So you see like the quick jab of it, and what was clearly like a teenage kid when you get close, like his clothes rotting on it. He's still wearing like a Metallica shirt, right? Like that like you could see kind of crawling up, right? And you just it's like a mercy, right? Thunk, right? And the blade is out before you can even see it go in, and the thing kind of slumps over. And you hear two guys, what was that? Claire, you can see that there are two people here, and they appear to have two other bodies or something laying next to them. And they are like not sure where the zombie's moan came from. Like you killed it quickly enough that they didn't see it. They didn't figure it out, but they're now kind of on alert looking around.
And I can see them like
you can
clearly?
see them. You can see not super clearly, but you can see that they're people. They're not zombies. They do appear to have some other people maybe that they've dragged off into the woods.
Yeah, well, I don't like them. In my head, they are enemies for sure. I calmly, coolly take my gun, my rifle, take aim, and I shoot to kill.
Okay, great, cool. So you're going to turn to violence against them.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%.
Okay, cool, good. So now the difference here is when we turn to violence against zombies, that's not, you're just killing zombies, right? But this is turning to violence against another survivor, against a person, right? So there's a couple things here. Go ahead and read the move for me.
All right, where did I put the moves? Which I am turned to violence. When you turn to violence against the uninfected, draw savagery. On a hit, trade harm and choose options. On a triumph, choose 3. On an edge, choose 2.
Great. So first thing is trading harm means that if it's a straight up fight, they're going to hit you and you're going to hit them. Here, you're going to trade harm, but they don't know you're here, so their harm is 0 right now.
Okay.
Right. So you've kind of set up this situation where trading harm means they inflict 0 and you inflict whatever harm you're going to inflict. Now, the other options here matter to us because the first one is you can inflict terrible harm, which means that's shooting somebody in the head. That's slashing somebody across the throat. That's like really serious, like you're dropping the hammer on this person.
Yeah.
You can suffer little harm, which doesn't matter much right now because you've set up a position in which you have the advantage. You can resist marking stress, meaning that you don't mark stress for doing violence. And doing violence in this game always leads to you marking stress unless you choose that option.
Okay.
Meaning that you have to say, my character is focused and cold.
Yeah, my character is focused and cold because Maya, I see blood, I see bodies, I see drag marks. This is our medic. That is not their enemy. This is
so there's a good chance you'll pick this option, right?
Yeah.
And then the fourth option is avoid collateral damage, meaning that you don't have anything unintended happen because of the violence you inflict. Okay. So let's make your draw and see how it goes.
All right, I have savagery of 2. So I got a miss. And, my Pinterest icon keeps on coming up and blocking where I can. A triumph!
Ooh. Boom! 10 plus, you get all 3. So if you don't care about suffering little harm, because you're not going to suffer any, then you get all 3. You can inflict terrible harm, avoid collateral damage, and avoid marking stress.
Yeah, I do all 3 of those.
Perfect, great, cool. So you see one of these guys wearing just like really like cargo shorts, like cargo pants, like very not survivalist clothing, but very sort of like hiking focused clothing, with a rifle slung over his back, steps out from around the tree to look, and just blam, just like the back of his head just explodes, right? And he like stumbles into the tree and then falls. And the shot is loud, right? Like it cracks through the forest. Go ahead, Victoria.
You best run before you meet the fate of your friend.
The other guy takes cover behind the tree. Like a big enough tree that there is a little bit of cover.
I drop because I want to kind of change where I'm located.
That sounds great. So it looks like Claire's just straight out going at these guys. Right before he got shot in the head, you got a clear look at him. And he was definitely one of the people that you drove off with the... Xavier, what do you do?
There's maybe a moment hesitation that he has where it's like, oh shit, this is what we're doing? Okay. So he'll hit the ground before Claire does, just kind of out of a defensive mechanism.
Sure. It sounds like you should mark a stress here.
Yeah.
This psycho killer scout just murdered somebody right in front of you, and you're like, whoa, what? Yeah.
It shook me a little.
Shook. Listen. Okay.
Maybe we would talk to them. Ask what's up, threaten a little. I love threatening.
A little threatening.
You know?
Nope. Escalate right away.
Escalate right away. Great, cool. Are you still trying to collect yourself for a minute, or do you have something you want to jump in and do?
I want to start like pulling myself towards where they were dragging the body.
That sounds good. Cool. So you're kind of take a position.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy, you see him reach over and grab one of the bodies and drag it towards him, right from the cover of the tree, and say, if you do anything, I'm gonna fucking kill him.
If there's like a signal that Xavier can do to be like, I'm over here, but like they're still on the ground because like they're trying to flank. This is all you though.
Are you trying to get Claire's attention? Are you like trying to wave for her, or?
Just, I'm not going to wait. I just wanted to signal because we seem to have this kind of silent hand talk. Sure. Thieves can't signal that I'm going left to go around.
Okay, cool. So
those four trees.
Splitting up. Yeah, great. I like it. Claire, what do you do?
Leave them and go. You'll be free.
It wasn't supposed to go like this.
Well, you should have thought of that before you took my people.
We didn't intend to take them, he shouts.
Don't care. Go now.
Okay, sounds like you're getting in his face that this
I'm
is
yelling.
like you're really pushing him, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So go ahead and draw with savagery.
Yeah. Miss and opportunity counts as a triumph if you mark a stress. Otherwise, counts as miss. I'll mark a stress.
Yeah, so this is a special card. Again, like the triumph, there's only one in the deck. And this one is you can mark a stress to get it to be a triumph, right? And so if you're taking the triumph, you're good. So you're going to take a +1 against him if he decides to escalate.
Okay.
But he's got to either mark a stress and escalate or flee. Now, NPCs can mark stress, but it's kind of catastrophic for them. Like they can only mark 1 or 2 or 3 before they're out, right? They can't mark 5 and take a trauma like you all can, right? All right, so there's this long pause, and I love the idea that like in the forest, right, in this thick forest right next to your encampment, your enclave, there's like the water dripping from the trees from when it rained last night, and like a little stream that's kind of running just in the distance, and like the birds kind of chirping, and the sound of the gunshot still kind of ringing in your ears, right, from killing the first guy. And you see him kind of rise, like slowly kind of get up. And Xavier, as you've kind of crept around the other side, you can see this guy too. Like he was one of the people that you told to go away. He had a daughter with him, and you remember him saying, like, look, please let us stay. Like, we don't know what we're doing. Like, we came from the city, like, etc. And his name was Jim, we'll say, like, something just sort of like really basic dad, right? Like, and he kind of like is not paying attention to you at all. He's looking at the way that Claire was talking, and you could tell he kind of gets his gun and he's thinking about what to do, and he sort of turns and begins to like kind of creep away, as hoping to keep the tree between him and her, but he doesn't see you at all.
So, in my past life, Xavier was a sheriff. And, they were just from a couple towns over. They knew maybe one or two folk that lived over here, but they weren't really familiar with most of these people. So they have some power. So to reveal this card, bring a perpetrator before the other survivors for judgment.
Great. So you're going to grab this guy?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So for me, that sounds to me like a turn to violence, with the idea that you're going to like grab him, right? Like knock the gun away, knock him unconscious, that kind of thing. Go for it. I love it.
All right. So that would be savagery?
Still savagery, yep.
1, 2, okay. Miss. So what is that? How does that resolve?
Okay, so he's creeping away, right? You try to jump in, is what I understand, right? And like basically what happens, I think, is like he grabs, like, or you try to grab him, right? Like,
yes, trying to grapple. Maybe I have like my hunting knife out.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, you probably would put those away, right? If you want to grab him, you want to have your hands free to like really, really grab him, right? So you grab him, and he kind of panics and turns towards you and pulls the trigger, right? And just shoots you, and like immediately is horrified at what he's done, right? And like tries to get, like, almost trying to get away from you, right? Like to get back up away from you as quickly as he can, as if it won't count if he's not touching you when you die, right, or something, right? And like backs up away from you. So Claire, you hear a gunshot, you see him stumble back into view, further down the trail than you thought he might have been, and you see from as you move to see the right angle, you see that Xavier is clutching his stomach, like stumbling backwards from this guy. What do you do?
I shoot him. Not Xavier, the other guy.
Make the draw, and then when we come back, Xavier, once she makes that draw, we're gonna look at what happens to you, because there's a special mechanic for suffering serious harm.
Okay, savagery. We got a miss. Come on, you've been so good to me so far. Come on, Pinterest. That's not edge hit.
Edge hit. Great, cool. You get 2. This time he will be able to shoot back. So, what would you like?
I want to edge hit.
No, sorry. What you get?
Oh,
you
I get 2
out of the
things.
4 options. Right. Yep. And he will be shooting back at you, right? Because he knows that you're there.
Everything just refreshed. Hold on.
So, if you're waiting for the options, it's inflict terrible harm, suffer little harm, avoid collateral damage, and resist marking stress.
So, yeah, I am going to inflict terrible harm.
Okay.
And avoid collateral damage.
Awesome. Great. Cool. So, so you do have to mark a stress. And as he's shooting back at you, like you shoot, right? And he turns and sees you, and he starts shooting in your direction. He's very sloppy. Like, you're not sure where he got this gun, but not good gun safety. Like, he's just kind of all over the place with the barrel of the gun. You don't suffer serious harm, but one of the bullets does clip your shoulder, and it's going to cause you to mark a stress. Okay, so like you can suffer stress kind of as physical harm when it's not serious harm. Okay, so you're going to mark another stress for that.
All right.
For Xavier, though, you laying on the ground.
Oh yeah, clutching my wound.
Exactly. Yeah, you can see that you've been shot. On your character sheet, there is the move suffering serious harm. So when you suffer serious harm, you draw a card from the survivor deck. You get at least 1, and you get to draw an additional card for each true statement. The harm is unintentional or accidental. So here it totally is. He didn't really intend to kill you. He just got freaked out, right, and shot you. The harm isn't explicitly lethal. Sorry. Definitely is explicitly lethal. You have cover, body armor, or a bodyguard. No, so you're just going to draw 2 cards. On a hit, you'll live. On a triumph, it's just a minor wound. On an edge, there's going to be some costs, and on a miss, you're dead. So we're going to find out if Xavier's story ends here.
1 edge. I think we might be out of cards in the survivor deck.
Well, we should shuffle it before you draw. Sorry, let's
Okay.
recall it.
Well,
shuffle.
okay.
All right, and shuffle. Go for it.
Okay, so edge and opportunity.
Would you like to take the triumph?
Absolutely.
Good. So you're a sheriff. You've been shot at before. Maybe you've been shot before. You could tell like the bullet went right through. Like it's clean,
I poked
clean
my
shot.
finger.
Yeah, it's about as good as it's gonna get to do that. But you can see that he's dying. Like he is like the bullet kind of went through his neck from Claire, and you can see that there are both Maya and Danny are here, laying on the ground, and it looks like they're not tied up. They're not. They weren't intended to be. This wasn't a kidnapping operation or something. You're not sure what happened, but Danny and her are both unconscious, and you're listening to this guy Jim die his last moments. All right, let's come back to D. D, you went and ran around looking for Maya. No luck. Didn't see her.
Just casually going around.
Yeah. Then you hear a bunch of gunshots from the forest, not too far away.
Yep, just gonna start walking that way.
All right, so you do go that way into the forest to look.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like okay, so either it's out people shooting at somebody or something, which I should probably know what's going on, or somebody's shooting at our people, and I should probably know what's going on.
Awesome, great. So, am I correct in assuming Claire and Xavier that you would drag Maya and Danny back to the Enclave?
Yeah, I'd probably firefighter carry.
Yeah.
One of them, yeah.
Sling Maya over your shoulders. Yeah, that's great. So I think D will see you all coming out of the woods, right? That makes sense. Like you're a couple of minutes into walking when you see Claire and Xavier. Xavier's shirt is covered in blood, right? Like just soaked in blood.
Hobbling over, bent,
kind of
pale.
And they see you very clearly. Like you make sure and notify them so there's no scary shots fired in your direction. But yeah, you see them coming out of the woods with these 2 people.
Yeah, I think these well, that explains it, and we'll kind of jog to meet the halfway point, and I think probably scoop from Xavier under Xavier to support him.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I can't have you dying yet.
Nah, I got shit to do still. I think we had a kidnapping almost. She was wild over there. Claire, can you... I just having a hard time,
Yeah. Took our people. We dealt with them.
So D, Claire seems pretty intense about that.
Yeah, she's like, all right, cool.
So you take them back, I think, probably to the farmhouse.
Yeah.
Right? And you can tell that you check their pulse. They're both still alive. It looks like Danny's nose is probably broken, and it looks like he maybe got hit in the face with something. And for Maya, it appears that she was you don't see any obvious marks on her. Maybe she got hit in the head. Maybe somebody grabbed her and choked her until she passed out. But Maya is missing a shoe that Claire may have picked up, may have in her bag. Right?
Yeah. I would have taken it on the way back.
Great.
Picked it up because Claire's thoughtful. Very few words.
Yeah.
But thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Good. And so, in order to turn over your card to bring a perpetrator to justice, did you also bring back the bodies of 1 or 2 of these people? Are you gonna show them what happened, Sheriff?
I was wondering how, if perhaps after I went back, kind of got stitched up a little bit, if I could bring somebody back to the forest to drag them to the farm before they turn.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't know how long they're going to take to turn. I mean, the guy who's got shot in the head, he's not going to turn, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's fine. So,
Yeah, D could volunteer to go do that.
okay,
Perfect.
great, cool. Yeah, so why don't we have a scene with the two of you out there bringing the bodies back, because I think that you two might have something to talk about. What about you, Roxy? Are you?
Yeah. So gunshots.
Yeah, gunshots.
That I probably definitely heard.
Yep.
I think when she heard the gunshots, she made sure Sandy was okay, and then like climbed up out on the roof to be like, we doing this? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
You
So,
come back, dragging bodies. No one's talking to me.
Well, come back with 2 unconscious people.
Two unconscious people first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Worse.
But you were ready, right? And there's no
Yeah.
attack. There's nobody. There's a couple gunshots and that's it. And eventually they come back with these unconscious bodies. So let's pick up there. And then if Dee and Xavier go out later, they can. But you see them bringing a couple of people in. It's Maya and Danny. As far as, I mean, you don't remember their names, but you remember their faces. And they bring them inside the farmhouse, right? And like you're there with Sandy, who's still having trouble breathing, but doesn't seem like he's gonna die right now.
I needed that one awake. D.
I had no control over that. Literally, I went over there, and we can wake her.
Did something necessitate the noise giving away our position?
Cook, can you get some water boiling? We got people with injuries, and we need to take care of it. We need to dig a bullet out of our friend here.
Her shoulders rise very, like, visibly, like, trying to restrain herself. And then she walks away and does it.
Okay.
With her bag.
Yeah. So Dee and Xavier, why don't we have a scene with you out by the bodies and bringing them back, and that'll probably be it for us for today. Like that'll be kind of our last scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can tell that like when Maya wakes up, you tell her about Sandy, and she takes a look at him, and so she's kind of giving him a checkup, and Dee and Xavier go off. Xavier, do you tell Dee anything about who it was before?
I think so. I'm not exactly good at keeping lies for whatever reason. So yeah, I think I just kind of word vomit. Like them folks, they were the ones we shot back, or we shoot away, and they came back. And for what? Just to die? I don't understand that.
I don't either. I mean, what, there are only 2 of them, is what you said?
For now. It's not like we have anything like safety set up.
Well, I mean, important part is that strength isn't sticking together, right?
About that, when you say strength and sticking together, it usually means like we're all going to agree with each other, but it's really none of my business. But I think we should maybe talk about Claire.
Just kind of looks at. So I'm gonna guess that she's the one who did the shooting.
That body that one over there that kind of looks like mashed potatoes, yeah.
Yeah.
Noisy as shit too. That weapon she uses it ain't good. No respect,
I know. Well, you and I work together well, and I mean, got kind of basically a crew this way. As long as we get to stick together, we work together, like a little gang or something, then we're cool, right?
You and I think so.
Cool. I'm gonna flip over gangbanger as my past. I've been waiting this entire fucking game.
Wait, what?
I was part of a gang. And I'm trying to make a new gang. It's literally called Gangbanger.
I was confused.
That's awesome.
Only two people.
That's
It can't
great.
quite be a gang.
That's
Yeah,
great.
so that's entirely what my past is I'm trying to build a gang here again.
That's good. I like it. And when do you clear a stress? Oh, sorry.
Um,
It's while revealed, you draw +1 to intimidate people
yeah,
when
I'm-
you're leading.
I already lead a little posse,
Yeah, that's great. That's
and now
awesome.
I've got the sheriff with me.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Cool.
I'm
Good.
on your side, you're on our side, and I'm gonna clear stress as well because I have involved myself in something, Claire, that has nothing to do with me.
With your overbearing trauma.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
You're an overbearing contrarian sheriff. That is.
Aren't I a mess?
That's great. So let's do so this is kind of like we have a sense as you drag those bodies back, you don't know what they were doing here. Maya and Danny both say that I guess Maya and Danny tell you that they came upon the two of them trying to steal a motorcycle. and they attacked them kind of confusedly. It didn't seem like it was planned, right? But you don't know where the rest of their people are, and you don't know whether they came alone or whether there were others, and they're out there in the woods maybe. But we still get, I think, a sense for each of your characters of what does the end of this episode, of this pilot episode, look like? So what are you doing, Roxy? What does it look like as we wrap up here? What do you look like? Are you spending time with Sandy? What does it look like for you to end here?
So I think Roxy boiled the water, but when she came back in, she's wearing a military jacket. Can I flip this?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us.
I am guard. To reveal, put on your uniform.
Cool.
And I think she's got this whole, not entirely different, but just more swagger. Sandy's in charge. And if Sandy goes down, you know who's in charge? It's me. And so it's very much I don't want to say that on Roll20's Twitch channel. It's she's strutting a bit. There we go.
Yeah, good. So she feels like the conflicts that she's seen, it's time to gear up. It's time to talk about building those walls and getting ready for these people to come back and take more of our stuff, right? So you definitely feel like Roxy's going to be advocating for militarizing the farm.
Totally.
That sounds good. Cool. Dee, how about you? What do we see as we end the episode with Dee?
I think Dee's probably gone back to her group, her gang of people. Just happened to be one of them the drug dealer. I agree with that. I'm oh wow, perfect.
Yeah.
But anyways, probably give them a heads up on what's going on. Tell them to keep an eye out on Claire, and to know that Xavier's. We're still in the first stages, but Xavier's in.
That's great. So I like it's the four of you kind of sit down and have this kind of 5 of you sit down and have this kind of quiet conversation about your plots and plans and schemes.
While eating my food.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if Roxy's acting like that, I think it's also going to be keep an eye on her. And we're, yeah.
I like it. That's good. Cool. Claire?
Claire is all for the militarization of the farm. And I think when Claire sees the uniform on Roxy, she gives her a nod and a bit of a salute. Just
cool.
And as she's sitting in the kitchen, carefully cleaning out the wound in her shoulder from the gun.
Yeah, so there's this kind of lines getting drawn, right? Where you Claire and Roxy are okay, we got to take this over, and meanwhile outside Dee and her folks are, well, we got to take this over. So kind of thinking about how that's playing out. That's good. And finally, Xavier, how about you? What do we see in the last moments of
the final scene then? So the unspoken divide has been established, and inside of this farm we have Roxy and Claire kind of doing whatever they're doing, and then outside, perhaps closer to the barn, is where Dee is talking to her gang. And sitting just outside of the barn, just outside of the farm, not quite with the barn yet, but not quite inside of the farm, harm
I like
is
it.
Xavier holding
Yeah.
on to his old sheriff coat and starting to sew on the patch of the new biker gang.
That's great. Yeah. So you're kind of caught between both worlds of this fight that's to come. I love it. That's great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was great. I do love hearing about people's cards that we didn't flip over. So real quick, we got all of B's cards over, but Roxy, what was your trauma?
I'm compulsive. I'm a klepto.
Oh, so you have a bag of stuff that you
Yep.
take in. It's really
Yep.
good.
I was
And-
waiting to steal something from someone, but no one was around me.
And D, how about you? What was your trauma?
Cruel. If I get to clear stress when I do inflict serious harm on another PC.
Oh, yeah. So there's a little capacity for cruelty there. Good.
Yeah.
And Claire, what was your past?
Veteran.
Ah, okay. So you're a pretty good shot then, right? And your
Yeah,
trauma?
that's I played into that.
Yeah. And what about your trauma?
Stubborn. Yeah.
Perfect. Good. Cool. Well, thanks. So I think you could see like the goal of me for me as the GM is often to try to create situations that let the PCs find their own place in it. Like Xavier's horror is not just at the zombie, but really at Claire and her capacity for violence, right? And that kind of being what this game is about more than anything else. So thank you all very much for playing. It was a blast to do even a short session with you all. And thank you so much for having me on, Victoria.
Yeah, thank you so much for running. That was fun. I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And we are a little short on time. So quickly, where can we find you, Lauren?
You look
I
so
was
ready.
the most ready. Thank you, Victoria.
So ready.
I'm Lauren. I'm that salty ginger over on Twitter and half of Salty Sweet Games here on Twitch with my best friend Kienna. Our next stream coming up, we may play video games on Thursday, but our regular stream coming up is Masks of Nyarlathotep, a Pulp Cthulhu campaign that I run on Saturdays, 9 a.m. Pacific. And
great.
they just finished New York and maybe survived. I mean, I almost killed Summer, but she's fine now. Don't worry about it.
B.
Yes, I am B Zelda. You can find me on Twitter as @B_Zelda. I'm a member of the Broadswords. As well, you can find me with the Magpie Curated Play program if you want to sit at my virtual table and perhaps play Zombie World if this was so interesting.
Kienna.
I'm Kienna. Y'all can find me over on Twitter @KiennaS. Best way to figure out what I'm doing. Come on the internet, doing lots of role-playing things. I am one half of Salty Sweet Games with my friend Lauren, where we do regular shows.
Your friend, not your best friend?
My best friend. My bestest of friends. But one thing that I'll give a real cute, small shout out because we're on the Roll20 channel. Salty Sweet Games is going to be doing a Burn Break campaign. We're going to be announcing the cast tomorrow.
Someone from here be in it. Besides us.
But anyways.
Be in it.
So definitely go follow us over there for more information on that. But it was so much fun. Love this game.
Mark.
Great. I'm Mark Diaz Truman again. You can follow me at Trumans. I sometimes tweet about game design stuff when I'm not busy making games. And you can always find us at magpiegames.com. You check out our curated play program. Like B said, we have a bunch of amazing GMs, several of which are right here, who run all kinds of games, including Masks, Bluebeard's Bride. We're going to have some Root campaign stuff coming up pretty soon here with our release of the quick start for Root. And of course, the full Root release later this year, early next year. And it was just a real pleasure to be here. So thanks for having me on, Victoria.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. And again, I'm Victoria. I will be back here next Tuesday. We are going to be playing Fall of Magic with a whole new cast, and I am excited. So
That's great. Thank you.
thank you, everyone, and have a good night.